Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 Python tutorial using Folium. In the last video we went over some of the basics of Folium, such as map features, marker features, and how to plot some data. In this video I want to go over some extra functionality we get by using the plugins library. Let's get started. So I went ahead and added some extra points to the data frame just so we could get some better visualizations, and now our data frame has roughly 40 points. 47. So the first plugin I want to talk about was the Antpath. So the Antpath is a good way of just showing the flow of your data from one point to another without having to specifically mark out the beginning or end. It works just like the polyline, but instead we do plugins.antpath instead of folium.polyline. Let's see it. Alright, so here we can see the ant line in motion. It goes from the red, which I just added just so we can see where the start is, to the blue, and it has a nice ant-like feature where it just moves towards one direction. And if we want to change the speed, we can change the delay parameter right here. It starts off at 400, so let's try something like 200. And as you can see, it's going really fast. And I'll just comment that out for now so it doesn't slow down the video. Yeah, so the next thing I want to talk about are the Beautify Icon and the Fullscreen plugins. So the Beautify Icon plugin gives us a lot more customizability when it comes to the markers we use. And as we saw in the first video, there are some basic markers we could use, but they aren't very customizable. So there's a plugin called Beautify Icon, which I'll show right here. Here is the actual plugin code. So there's many different ways that you can customize these things. Basically any color you want, any style you want. So much you can do with this. And it's basically all up to your imagination and how much time you put into it. And next thing is the full screen plugin. And I personally find this to be the most useful plugin because you can just zoom in on any map and make it full screen. So let me go and show that. And so here this little full screen icon comes up, and if we click it, we see that the map is put in full screen. And these are the icons that I just showed. We're able to change the background color, border, styling, anything like that. And yep. Alright, so the next plugin I want to talk about is Heatmap, which is a great way of visualizing data where it can be spread out or concentrated in certain places. So let me go and show it. As we can see here, the data the visualization where it's red means where data is more clustered together, and where it becomes bluish or greenish is where it's less clustered together. So if we look at the plotting of all the points, which I did up here, we can see that around down here and around here there's quite a bit clustered, and that was shown in the heat map. So this is a really good way of being able to get a high level view of where things are placed. And yeah. Alright, so the final plugin I'm going to show is the Heatmap with time. And the Heatmap with time is basically the same as a heat map, except it'll show the data in certain time steps. For this case, we're going to be using the hours of the day, starting at 5 a.m. going up to 11 p.m. So what we want to do is put our data into a format that the Heatmap with time can take. And so we need to put it into another list. This outer list is so that the heat map of time can understand what the time steps are. So let me show this first, and then I'll show you how the data looks. So we go into full screen mode. Oops, sorry. Sometimes the full screen mode does this. Alright, so here we can change the FPS. Let's go about 3, might be a little bit slow. So now we can press play. See that the data displays throughout the day. And if we zoom out, it might look a bit better. And just like that, that's how heat map of time works. So now let me explain how exactly the data is looking like. So here we can see this is actually one big outer list, which contains multiple inner lists. And so this first list is for the first hour of the day, or basically our first time step. And the second one is for the second time step, and so on and so forth. So there will be about, I think there will be 23 minus 5, 18 lists inside this, and each of those lists contain their own data. And so the way we did this was by doing a double list comprehension, which is basically what's happening here. So we are saying take the latitude and longitude of every row inside our data frame where we have applied this function that just takes the time of that row and turns it only into an hour, where the hour is equal to our time steps. Alright, so I hope that wasn't too complicated, and I'll make sure to leave a link to where I learned how to do the heat map of time as well as any other tutorials about this. So that's all for the video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll put the code for this in the description. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section. And thank you guys.